Thank you for staying with us. Well, WBC Bridgerweight champion Kevin Lerena returns to the heavyweight class later this month on a huge card at the Wembley Arena in London. That features the division's undefeated star, Oleksandr Usyk. The 33-year-old takes on Briton Lawrence Okolie for the WBC silver heavyweight belt. A stepping stone to Usyk, the July 19 matchup makes for a huge night for the South African. Lerena and Okolie were supposed to fight for the Bridgerweight crown, and which Lerena now owns, but that failed to materialize after the Briton opted to move up to heavyweight. Lerena was subsequently awarded the Bridgerweight belt, which he defended in Pretoria last month. The South African, though, is no stranger to the heavyweight division. He lost by third-round stoppage to Daniel Dubois back in 2022 and dropped a point decision to Australian Justice Huni in March last year. Now he joins us in studio. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us on Newzroom Afrika. I can imagine the preparation, stepping up a division. Easy, difficult?
I think it's all different, you know, it's all relative. Obviously, when you're dropping down a division, your preparation is different in the sense of weight cutting, different nutrition. Now it's all performance-inspired nutrition. You know, you're not looking to put on weight. I'm not looking to get bulky and get slow. I'm looking to take my speed up, take my power up, and disrupt the heavyweight division.
Yeah, and you've always talked about disrupting that space because you've always highly relied on your speed, and I mean it's a space where you've dabbled in a little bit. Your experiences moving between the divisions, how has that been?
The heavyweight game's a completely different game. You know, having come from the cruiserweight division, being a cruiserweight world champion, and then gone up to bridgerweight, being a bridgerweight world champion. But before becoming a bridgerweight world champion, I dabbled at heavyweight. You know, I fought Maurice Vach, 6'9" guy. I fought Bogdan Duni, 6'5", and then obviously the big Daniel Dubois, who's our current IBF heavyweight world champion. It's a different element. It's a different sport in the glamour division, the heavyweight division. The guys are a lot bigger. They're a lot stronger. They're obviously naturally, physiologically hit a lot harder, but you just got to be more calculated. You know, I think defense and not getting hit is your biggest attribute in the heavyweight division because the only chin that's a good chin is the one that doesn't get hit. And that's the plan for this fight, to be elusive, to be dynamic, to be explosive on the inside and to disrupt. And I think I got all the minerals and the material within my arsenal to do that.
Do you think moving through different divisions has given you a different perspective in terms of how to fight?
Most definitely. I think each division presents something different. When I was in the cruiserweight division, I was always the bigger, stronger man. Moving up to the bridgerweight division was, as per se, my natural division. I walk around 101, 105 kilograms around there. And then I'm the small man of the heavyweight division. So I need, throughout each division, you've got to use different strengths. So at cruiserweight, you kind of the bully tactics. They've been the bigger, stronger man, making the smaller man tired. Bridgerweight, the fight goes how it goes. Being the heavyweight, you can't allow the big man to lean on you. You've got to be explosive. You've got to be elusive in there to not get hit, because any shot in the heavyweight division can put your lights out, as we know. So that's why I think the heavyweight division, it's fair to say it's the glamour division, it's the pinnacle of the sport, because everybody tunes in and wants to watch the heavyweights throw bombs.
It is the pinnacle of the sport, but just take us through how important this fight is for you personally, one, but secondly for boxing in South Africa. I think boxing, you know, in the early 90s was one of the major sports in the country. It's kind of like fizzled out a bit. And when I speak to younger boxers in even, you know, the lighter divisions, they talk about how they want to revive the sport again and get tongues wagging about the sport of boxing. How important is this fight for you personally, and secondly for South African boxing?
Very good question. I think for me personally, you know, having been a cruiserweight world champion, bridgerweight champion currently, this is probably my most important fight in a sense of what's to come. You know, this is technically an eliminator for the WBC #1 spot. We know the WBC champion at the moment is Usyk, and Daniel and Usyk are fighting for all the marbles on the 19th of July. Obviously, they're the main event, we the co-main event. So this is my biggest fight to date in terms of magnitude. And what I want to do, I want to become a 3-weight division world champion. That's what I want to do. Cruiserweight, bridgerweight, and I want to challenge for the heavyweight world title. And in order to do that, there's a man standing opposite me who I have no personal grudges with. It's purely business, but we're on the same route, right? We were meant to fight at cruiserweight. We didn't fight. We were meant to fight at bridgerweight. It fell through. Now we're meeting on the biggest stage 97,000 people, Wembley Stadium in London, so the timing is right. And as Lawrence said in an interview, we're going for the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's not about who wants it more, because we both want it. It's who's going to bring the superior skills and on the night show up, and that's what my plan is. And in terms of South African boxing, it's huge for us as a country. You know, we got legitimate world champions in the country. You know, you got Mpumelelo Kafu, WBO world champion. You got myself, WBC world champion. You got Ricardo Malajika and Tulani Mbenge, RBO world champions. South African boxers truly do fly the flag really high for us as sportsmen within South Africa. And I think, you know, we know and we say boxers need to be respected more, but I think they just need to be appreciated more. I think people respect the fistic art, but we need to respect what the fighters are doing for our country. You know, we got Kafu who fights on the same night as me, the 19th of July, in a massive unification fight against Bam Rodriguez.
Yeah.
It's huge. If Mpumelelo Kafu walks down the road, how many people are stopping to recognize him? Not that many. We need to recognize our fighters that are doing our country proud.
Yeah.
And I wish him all the best, you know. It's hopefully a good omen that we're both fighting on the same night, and hopefully he can capture his titles and I can capture mine, and we can continue to fly the flag for South African boxing.
How differently are you doing things this time around? I mean, you're going to be fighting in an arena where there's, what, 97,000 people. I don't think you've fought in
Not
a
in front
cauldron
of that
like that. Yeah,
70,000 at Tottenham was pretty good, but my last fight only had 7,800 at the Sunbet Arena, to put it in perspective. I believe, you know, I fought on the biggest stages more than Lawrence. You know, Lawrence being a former cruiserweight world champion. This is his first massive stadium fight. I've been at the Kingdom Arena in Saudi Arabia. I've been at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium when I fought Daniel Dubois.
Yeah.
But having said that, you know, when the bell goes, the rest is benign, right? The noise around you, the crowd, it's you and him. It literally, the camera zones in on you and him, and that's how it is in the fight. It's you and him. So the magnitude is not going to be too big for me. You know, I know what it's like. I learned a lot from 2022 December when I had my defeat to Daniel Dubois, a fight that I was winning, you know, but I learned a lot. So I think that fight was one of my biggest victories in my career, in a sense of you lose, you lose. It's on your record forever, but I learned a lot, and I won a lot from that night. I found out a lot about who I am, what it's like to go down on the canvas. As cliche as it sounds, picked myself back up and got myself back into this position. So this is just another opportunity to show fighters, people out there, that, you know, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. You got to pick yourself back up and just keep moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin, right now you are counting down towards that Wembley fight. How are you cutting down in terms of training? Are you intensifying things so that you peak? How does the backroom staff, you know, make sure that they handle you correctly?
I've got a very good trainer, Peter, who's obviously walked the road with me for a very, very long time. So he knows exactly what he's dealing with. He knows the product he needs, and he knows the product that he's working with. Yeah. So I had my last spar today in South Africa. I sparred 8 rounds. I was supposed to do 6, but the plan changed this morning. Peter said, let's do 8, because prior to this, I was doing 8, 12, 12, 12, 10, 10, 8. So we had a really big build-up, and now we're starting to taper it down. But he said, you know what, you got it in you. Instead of doing a hard, fast, explosive 6, let's go 8, because we know we got 12 in the tank. So let's do 8. So now it's about fine-tuning, implementing the game plan. So today's 8 rounds in the spar with Sean Purkita, my sparring partner, South African heavyweight champion, was to implement my game plan for what I want to do against Lawrence Okolie. Yeah. And that's what today was about. But the intensity was still high. Yeah. And then obviously the training load decreases now going into fight week next week, but the intensity is still the same, because you've got to keep explosive, you've got to keep nice and snappy, and you don't want to lose the fitness that you've worked so hard to build up. So, yeah, it's about tapering, and I leave that to the professionals. My duty is to show up, glove up, lace up, and go. Yeah. I mean, I just want to quickly take you back to that fight against Dubois, right? I mean, you had him at one point, you had him down on the canvas. Everybody thought this is done and dusted. What has that fight taught you coming into this fight, making sure that you finish your opponent when he's down? So many things. You know, obviously it taught me nobody is invincible. You know, when I went into that fight, I was the true underdog against this next British Lion, and I landed him one left on the button, and he was on his ass. And I said, what's happening? Yeah. You know, truthfully speaking, it happened so quick. When he went down the second time, because of the shot that hit him to the head, he hurt his leg, and he couldn't recover, I should have really stepped on him and got him out of there. But I allowed him to come back into the fight, and I found myself on the canvas in the third.
Yeah.
So what did I learn from that fight?
Yeah.
We're both humans. The man across you is a human being, you know. He's got two legs, 2 hands, two arms. You know, he's got a heart just like me.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, when you have your opportunities, utilize them, take care of them, and ensure that you get the job done. But I learned a lot about my character. It was my first time in an 11-year professional career I found myself on a canvas.
Sure.
Not in sparring, not in a fight.
Yeah.
I learned a lot that night.
Yeah.
I learned more than I could learn in the 11 years as a professional. More than I learned from knocking people out, more than I learned from 7-time IBO defenses. I learned so much more that night. I learned a lot about myself. So I wouldn't say I'm grateful it happened to me, because I'm not grateful it happened to me, because it cost me a lot of money. Yeah. I should have been fighting Usyk next, because that's what happened with Dubois. I fought Usyk next. But it's a full circle. Look where we are now. Co-main event to Usyk Dubois. So listen, if it's meant to be in the writing, myself and Daniel will meet again. But right now my focus is on Lawrence, and he's a terrific fighter. All respect to him, former Olympian, former cruiserweight world champion. But I'm also a terrific fighter, and he's going to know what it's like to be in there with a hungry lion.
Sure, a hungry lion. Kevin Lerena says he'll be bringing the killer instinct when he takes on Britain's Lawrence Okolie in that all-important WBC Silver Heavyweight Championship.